Hey, my wonderful people, a pleasant evening to you. Let me get right into it, beautiful people. So, I was watching the news this evening and I saw very disheartening, discombobulating, very perplexing uh, news report coming out of a 14-year-old boy who was arrested by law enforcement because of lottery scamming. 14-year-old. And all I could think of is child, undeveloped, half cooked rice, child, child. And in my mind, I'm wondering where were the primary sources of influence in his life. And then thereafter, the father came on to speak, to say that it is really not him, it is other family members, because he saw him with a laptop and asked him whose laptop it was. He said he doesn't know. And I began to think of when I was younger. Let me tell you something, parents. I'm sure that parenting, certainly, it really is not an easy task. It is a job that is so quantum dynamic. It is not linear. It is not just a one cap that fits all, because you're all different human beings. And how you parent, if you're a good parent, you're good parenting may be a bad way, unless you're looking at fundamental, universal principles in terms of providing the basic food, shelter, and clothing for your child, sending them to school, teaching them to be mannerly. Outside of those general universal commonalities, your good may not necessarily be good for another household. But one of the things that I know is universally good is loving your children, teaching your children accountability and disciplining your children, not abusing your children, but ensuring that they become social fits or socially fit and not misfits in the country that he or she will reside, and at large, and by extension, the world. And in listening to the father, it just sounded, and I could be wrong, as though really he's there, but I really don't have that time to really be monitoring this fellow. Because back in the day, no child, boy or girl, could be coming home with a gadget like that, and the parent has no knowledge of it, and it is not returned, as I'm going to say, back to sender. Are you crazy? We want to know where you got that, who you got that from. You can't provide it, you no longer have it. Even if you provide the information, we don't want to give you the impression that you're going to just lay yourself careless, that anybody can just bring things to you. Because also when you become licky, nyami, and beggy, you will sell your soul to the devil, to the dog, to the cat, and to the rat. Not in my cabinet. So says the good parent. So I'm watching over you because God has given me this mandate. You see how him hold that rod of correction, not as a beating stick over you, where he says, honor me so that you can have a good life. I have to follow suit by not provoking you to wrath so that you become angry or you become discouraged. I have to do what I can. So I'm going to teach you principles day in, day out, or as often as I'm able to. I'm going to ensure that I monitor you because I want you to be able to be a better replica of me. And what is happening is that the children are neglected psychologically, the children are neglected emotionally, the children are neglected socially. Providing food, shelter, and clothing is just the beginner stage. It may fall a little bit into the intermediary stage, but not at the advanced stage. You have to be there for your child psychologically, emotionally, and socially. You have to be present. You cannot not be present. And that present has to be continuous. It has to be consistent. I don't know where his mother was. Maybe she is no longer in his life, or she's not around, or she was camera shy. Let me give her the benefit of the doubt to say that the mother is present, but camera shy. But there was no mention of a mother. At no point in time where the gadget that the father was unaware of is concerned. You heard other family members being called. Other family members being called, which tells a story. And we see quite a number of these young men at these tender ages. They're still uncooked. You know, they're in the cooking stage. They're like the half-cooked or quarter-cooked rice. At 14, you're not an adult. So when I was a child, I speak as a child. I understand life as a child. I operate as a child. But when I become an adult, the childish things no longer, they just fall off. You know, like when certain animals shed the skin and then they become full grown and full blown in their adulthood as animals or reptiles or amphibians or whatever it is, or the lower form of mammals. "14-year-old, he cannot think as how," and I'm not saying from male and female, I'm talking in terms of maturity and adulthood. He cannot think as how I am thinking because he's still a child. The father said that he's scheduled to, I don't know if he had said migrate and go abroad. I pray that, because you know, one of the things though, when you're going abroad, if you're going to have to do police record, you know, they're going to do background checks and all of that, because they don't want a criminal in a them country, whichever country you're going to. I know this has tainted it, but I pray that God intervenes. I would love for him to go and for him to be monitored and guided properly. Because there's something wrong with our country here in Jamaica. I'm not saying that other countries do not have social ills. They do. They do. Don't get me wrong. They do. But sometimes the amenities and the rehabilitation centers and so on there, it is almost like when they say it's at your beck and call. It's right at your doorstep. It's a little bit comprehensive and better. So it may work out it may work out better for the child. When he said it, it rested well with my soul. And I said, I hope that this child will get the opportunity to go abroad. Just having the right mentors and influencers in his life. Because at 14-year-old, he really should be thinking about, maybe in terms of games, playing football, playing cricket. You know, games are good for the brain. And studying. Occasionally watch a nice parent without the parental guidance kind of a movie. Although even movies that are wholesome and healthy, they'll still say parental guidance, just in case it might slip through the cracks. Just in case. 14 years of age, arrested for lottery scamming. CDA needs to intervene, because the father spoke about him being in a cell, and in there looks, not even rats should be in there, like a dungeon, I suppose. Because maybe they have nowhere else to put him. Maybe they really don't. I can't even blame the officers. They probably don't even know where to put him. But I pray that, that all, the courts will release him and that they follow up with him, that some sort of rehabilitation. I hope he's not thrown to the gutters or thrown away in a room and, spend how many times, however long, and come out worse than he had gone in. So I wouldn't mind. I pray that, maybe his record would be expunged, and exonerate. Well, if he really is not involved, that he would be exonerated. But as they say, you lay down with dogs, you rise with the fleas. You have to be careful. Again, parents, I implore you to monitor your children. It doesn't matter if it's family member or not. Every family is family, and familying. Not every family member is family and familying. I want you to understand that. After you're picking, you need to raise them and rear them in the admonition of God, so that they can become healthy and whole in the land of the living. You have to be there for them. I pray that God intervenes in this young man's life. Guys, you know what to do with TikTok and YouTube. Subscribe, give me a lion, please.